to you with the open line and sister trying to sister the microphone on, so don't say nothing too loud.
You better make sure that horse know how to ride and all this cold.
Y'all see that? All right, brother J.
The Open Line Radio Show is supported in part by Finders Keepers, the place with your residential hardware needs, small engines, outdoor power equipment, bathroom accessories, electronics, lighting, plumbing, and everything in between. Located in the Southern Development Office Building, at 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette. Telephone 337-780-8149. That's Finders Keepers.
You are now tuned into my man, Brother Jay, and our conscious sister, bringing the people the knowledge on the Open Line Radio Show on 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
You are now listening to the
88.3
only
FM.
radio talk show with its hands on the pulse of the community. It's the Open Line Talk Show, with Brother Jay and Sister Kadisha, heard exclusively only on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
KIEE, the Louisiana Superstation, presents the community's #1 radio talk show, The Open Line, if you have an open mind.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Open Line. I'm Brother Jay. I'll be here with my co-host, Sister Khadijah. Stay tuned and relax for the Open Line on KIEE 88.3, your superstation. Welcome to the Open Line on KIEE 88.3, your superstation. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of KIEE 88.3 staff or management. Thanks for listening.
The Open Line Radio Show. You can call us at 337-534-0036. That's 337-534-0036. For talk and information on Louisiana Superstation, KIEE 88.3 FM.
Yes, good morning. Hotep Habarigani, Assalamu alaikum. This is the open line. The open line with Brother Jay, myself, Attorney Dua, and we are ready to get started. We want to give a shout out to Agnes Delcor. We want to give a shout out to Agnes. Get well soon, and Miss Frida's on her way to the heart doctor, so you got to take care of what keep you pumping. That's for sure. And Attorney.
Yes, good morning to the South Louisiana listening audience. Welcome to another edition of the Open Line on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation. So much is going on. We want to also announce the second cleanup for St. Matthew Cemetery, sponsored by the Sons of King, and also the great info putting out by Councilman Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. Will be happening on November the 19th, right, sister?
Yes, November the 19th, 8:30 to 12 o'clock. And it's going to be at the cemetery.
Yeah, the St. Matthew's Cemetery in New Iberia, Louisiana. Everybody know the place, preferably known as the Hill. Please
go. Okay, I know it by the Hill.
Please go and check it out. A lot of our loved ones, that's a historically let's say a situation with that cemetery. It was the oldest African American cemetery in the city of New Iberia. So please give them some helping hand. So we definitely appreciate that.
Yes.
And sister, we go reminisce because we those of us who went through the school system in Iberia Parish, especially those. I was the first one. My class and. Was the first to integrate Iberia Parish schools coming from St. Edward's. The first principal that we encountered was Mr. Verge Osbury. They laid him to rest. I think, sister, you got that information. They laid him to rest this past yesterday, right?
Right, yesterday.
Yeah, we want to give our condolences to the Osbury family, well-known family in New Iberia. A lot of us used to go to his snowball stand that he had. But he was the principal of Westgate, not known as Westgate, but it was called Freshman High back in the day.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, and I remember him as the principal also at Lurville High. He was the principal there, and talk about his snowball was really, really good compared to he just was a disciplinarian. He used to paddle you. I mean, Mr. Osbury paddled me for no real reason because, he shouldn't have paddled me like that.
Thank you, Mr. Osbury.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Osbury. Yes, but he was a good person. Attorney Dwa.
Good morning, Attorney Dwazindra Smith. In the building today. You look nice, Sister Khadijah.
And yourself too much, sister.
I like very colorful.
Yeah, she's kicking it today, people. If you're watching on AOC Community Media, that's Cox 15 and LUS Street. She really got her ensemble together today.
I don't like.
I'm put to shame.
I don't like being recorded with the camera in my face at all times.
Okay.
Why don't?
Well, we're gonna do that. What we call that witness protection effect on you soon.
Okay.
Because I understand that. I understand that part.
Yes, indeed.
So before we get started, let me throw out my disclaimer. Yes. Any information obtained here today is strictly informational. No attorney-client relationship or privilege has formed. And, of course, if y'all need to get in contact with me, you can contact me at 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020.
Yes, Sister Khadijah, and I talked this over with Attorney Dwyer. We were supposed to have some callers calling from Alexandria concerning the case of Mr. Kittling, who happens to be the brother of Louisiana State Police and Chief Investigator Kenny Van Buren, who was killed in a traffic stop by Rapides Parish Sheriff Department. And everybody find this case is troubling. Louisiana State Police is already being investigated. The grand jury also was impaneled in North Louisiana concerning the case of Mr. Ronald Green, so many things concerning law enforcement. So why this would happen, where his brother, the chief investigator who's investigating the Louisiana State Police on the Ronald Green case, why would law enforcement have a traffic stop that resulted in the death of his younger brother? So we're supposed to have some people for an upcoming rally this Thursday in Rapides Parish Courthouse. Attorney Ben Crump is tentatively scheduled to be there. Attorney Ron Haley is supposed to give a press conference, and Reverend Harris is supposed to be on the line today along with Miss Destiny Jones, because her brother lost his life in the Rapides Parish jail.
Yes, it's like
Deja vu all over again.
Yeah, every day we have troubling news. And so, Attorney Dwight, you gave out your disclaimer. We're going to go ahead and just start it off with again child support. So with the child support, you've always keep saying that both parents need to work together. Both parents needs to work together. What happens when you're from the man's point? I usually try to get from the man's point of view. A caller had stated that he kept on working because he thought that the child was his child, and he recently found out through a DNA test that she's not his daughter, but the bond has already been there. So he wanting to know, should he try to file charges against the mother or just let it go? But he just feel that, with him going through the courts and everything, it's really put a damper on his entire life, particularly now since he know that his little girl is not actually his little girl.
So how old is his little girl? Do you know?
7.
Okay, so the first thing that I always like to throw out there is make sure y'all get a DNA test. I say that all the time, and I understand that women may get mad and aggravated about it, and men may too. But if you get a DNA test, then you'll know from the beginning whether or not this is your child or not. So that will knock out all of those concerns in these situations like this. So this little girl is 6 or 7.
She's 7.
7. Mm-hmm. There's been situations in the past where the fathers don't find out that these are not their biological kids until after they're 18. So the problem here is, you said he's been on child support and that's through the state?
Yes, that's through the state.
Is he able to call in? Because I would like some more information as to whether or not he just signed what's called the act of acknowledgement of paternity, because that's one way to say that that's his child, because obviously he didn't take a DNA test. So if he does that and then finds out later, that the mother lied, I'm not sure as far as a civil suit. I mean, that may be the way to go, but I've never heard of any that have been really successful. And then, of course, if it's through the state, that 5% fee and everything that they have, they are indemnified from that, so they don't have to give that back to the father. So that's why it's important from the beginning to get a DNA test.
They don't have to give nothing back to the father.
Oh no. And they have statutes and everything that say this.
Oh my land.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but I mean, morally, because you said now he's attached to the child. I mean, there's a difference in what you should do morally versus what you should do legally. Now he knows legally that he does not have to continue to pay child support or anything like that. And I'm not sure if he's terminated the child support judgment or not. If he hasn't, he needs to do that, because if he doesn't, then he's still on the hook to pay that money.
Yes. And that's really a sticky subject. It's a subject that never goes away. And a lot of times our young men are criminalized through that child support system, with them having to go in court and everything, and it's just humiliating.
Absolutely.
You're trying to make me out of a criminal and everything. When we made the baby, we made our baby in love or with consensual partnership, and now I'm the bad guy. And
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with getting that stuff worked out from the beginning. We have one of our callers on.
Yes, I think we have Reverend Randy Harris of Alexandria, giving us an update and information about the upcoming march on the Mar concerning the Kittling family with the death of Mr. Kittling. Good morning, Reverend Harris.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and having us on this morning. We're calling on everybody in Central Louisiana, Lafayette area as well. What we're having tomorrow is a call for justice march. It's between 3 and 5 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to start at Alexandria City Hall, and we're going to march to the Rapides Parish Courthouse. And we're calling for the immediate release of an officer's body cam, Officer Anderson's body and dash cam video footage. As you know, we're expecting to have Attorney Ben Crump and Ron Haley present. At that, they are the attorneys that the family have retained, and there are some conflicting reports as to what led to the fatal shooting of an unarmed Derek Kitling. And by the way, for your viewers and listeners, Derek Kitling is the brother of the third highest ranking state police Lieutenant Colonel Kenny Van Vuren.
Yes, sir.
So we're asking and we're pleading with people to come out and support this family. You know, since 2015, between 2015 and 2020, a 5-year period, we'd have 1,086 encounters, fatal encounters, where people were unarmed, black men and women, and they were fatally shot by the police.
And sir, what alleged violation that he supposedly done that caused him the death penalty?
Well, again, we are calling upon. There were some people that were out there that observed it, okay, and their story is conflict in the story that we're getting from the notorious Rapides Parish Sheriff Department and that sheriff there, Mark Woods. As you guys very well know, you guys have had Destiny Jones on your show.
Yes.
Destiny Jones' brother was Ronald Ricks, who the sheriff kicked in the head, and that guy subsequently died after being tasered numerous times while he was handcuffed in the Rapides Parish Jail. And that video, as your show amply depicted and pointed out, didn't surface until some 11 years later. Yes, and this guy's the sheriff at that in our parish. And there's conflicting views, to answer your question, of what the police is alleging and what bystanders allege. And the police even arrested bystanders and took video footage from them, which is certainly against the law. They were on their own private property, and they videoed this. And my understanding is that they took the video from one of them, I think the wife. They're business owners. They own a florist shop in Alexandria, and put their bail at $100,000.
And it's like it's deja vu all over again. It continues to happen. You're expecting a large turnout. Do you think that anything could actually be done, since the sheriffs here in the state of Louisiana and the district attorneys here in the state of Louisiana, they have power, they have unprecedented power. It's hard to really go against what they say and everything like that, but at least you're calling out and you want people to try and participate. Did the made a family try to find some type of closure, which is virtually hard to imagine? What about any children?
Yes, he has daughters. He has family members. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking with you via telecommunication because I'm in a meeting with the family as we speak. We just come off another talk show, and we're heading to another one after this one, because as you said, these are countless numbers of senseless killings, unnecessary killings, violent killings. And these people are unarmed, okay? This guy was tased, and he was still shot. After he was tased and allegedly fell forward on top of the officer pushed him off because he's incapacitated, he's tased. And the officer still drew his weapon, fired a single shot, went through his throat, and came out and shattered the back of his head. And he was violently and viciously killed with no weapon.
One of the things I want to inject, Reverend Harris, is I know I'm going through conjecture, directly or indirectly related to the case of Lieutenant Van Buren, his older brother, being involved in the investigation with the Louisiana State Police. That is everybody who saw the story, and the story's on national news now, and Vice carried it last night, an article. The strange thing is, how did they not know who they were dealing with if that's the brother of the chief, almost the chief investigator with the Louisiana State Police? I would think somebody in Rapides Parish, and the young man from where the articles say he frequented that area all the time. They should know who they're dealing with. And why wouldn't there was a call to diffuse the situation with people who might know that's his brother? So that's kind of strange. That's the part that perplexes me.
Well, that's a very great point. Our concern is that we would have liked to seen the FBI come in and investigate this case, simply because it's hard to ask an agency to come in and investigate it. People are going to say it's a conflict of interest, although Mr. Van Buren has nothing to do with the investigation. They removed him from it. People are going to allege that he had undue influence of it. People are going to allege, I allege myself, that it's hard to ask the Louisiana State Police to come in and investigate a murder when the entire agency is under investigation for murdering Ronald Green.
Right.
So, and being involved in a massive cover-up. So, and we have a United States assistant attorney, United States attorney for this area, Brandon Brown.
Right.
And our deal is to go next week and ask the Justice Department to look into all of these incidents that are taking place under the leadership or the lack of leadership of this sheriff. Let me just be clear to your viewers. Just last year, I think we had some 5 or 6 allegedly overdose that have taken place in the jail. There's been 2 or 3 murders that have taken place inside of the jail. Okay, so you have there's been multiplicity of rapes inside of the jail, not so much by people who are incarcerated, but there is a man by the name of Stump DeVille who lives in DeVille, Louisiana. He was raping African-American men who he saw shower by performing oral sex on them. Okay, this guy, only after he was reported through a reporting system to a national organization that monitors prison rapes, did the sheriff department even arrest him. And to this day, after he's been arrested some 2 years, nothing has been done. So we have no faith in the prosecutorial system here in Rapides Parish. We have no faith, zero faith in the sheriff department doing the right thing, because there's a multiplicity, there's a plethora of problematic predicament, situational circumstances whereby people have been physically, sexually abused, murdered, and overdosed within that jail.
Wow. That sure is a lot on your plate. But we appreciate, I know, like I say, I know you've been visiting with the family, and we want to give them support here at the Open Line Radio on 88.3 FM here in Lafayette. Sister Khadijah and Attorney Smith has always been attentive in listening to our people grievances over the years of being on this show, and we certainly know our audience is in support of what you guys are fighting.
And look, let me just say to you and the staff there, we so much appreciate you getting the word out on the family's behalf. And again, it's going to be Thursday tomorrow between 3 and 5 p.m. If you're coming straight down I-49, you take that Martin Luther King exit and you go to Murray Street, you'll go to City Hall. They're going to march from City Hall to probably 2 lengths of a football field to the Rapides Parish Courthouse. And we're asking you to join with Attorney Ron Haley, Ben Crump, the family, and myself and other people to call for these senseless acts of violence to stop that's being exclusively perpetrated against African American men and women. And we need your viewers, your listeners to come out and be a part of what we're trying to do and achieve justice for this family. I tell people in my church every Sunday, it's their day today. It could very well be our day tomorrow. What happens to one of us directly affects all of us indirectly.
And then not only that, but then it's all over it's all over the state of Louisiana. Now I'm pretty sure you've heard of New Iberia, Louisiana, where we had Sheriff Louis Ackle, and he
Yes.
was indicted on numerous of violations.
Right.
Several of his officers went to jail, but my grandson Raymond Shaheed Barnett, he went in for child support. They arrested him for child support during the COVID time, and within in the COVID time, in which they wasn't supposed to, for an alleged $5,000 behind, and say that today is Tuesday. Thursday he was getting out. You mean to tell me that he's getting ready to get out and they claim that he committed suicide, leaving behind 4 babies, and that's just the tip of the iceberg in our particular area, Iberia Parish and everything, because we still have some of the best corrupt sheriffs in existence, no matter how you look at it. So I definitely want to say that we definitely send our support, if at all possible. If we would love to ride out there. Our heart go out to y'all. Our heart go out to y'all. And remember, our representative, Clay Higgins, owed over $200,000 in child support, and to this day, I don't think that is even paid.
Well, that's the way they unfortunately try to buy some of our elected officials and keep them silent. They even try to silence some of our district associations, men who run our associations. But we need people in office, righteous people, who are unbossed and who's not afraid and who will stand for justice. And my heart go out to you and your family. I know how tough these things can be because I deal with these families. Seem like every other month we have one of these tragedies.
Yes, indeed. And the police department, that's one thing you try to tell our young people. Don't get no felon on your record, because that's how they eliminate so many of us that could have become police officers and get the other kind of police officers that wind up being some type of Chuck Norris, RoboCop, John Wayne wannabes, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's troubling. It's problematic.
It's problematic.
And it's something that we go beyond prayer. We do pray for all of the victims. We pray for their families.
Yes.
But I think we need to take comprehensive legislative action to curtail some of the things that are going on, especially when it exclusively involve African American people.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we want to thank you so much, and we appreciate you. And I hope later on we're going to have Miss Destiny on the line also to give her, she wants to give a statement too. And we appreciate the fight, Reverend Harris, and you're welcome anytime to come back to the open line if you have an issue you want to get out to the general public. And we appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thank you guys so much. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ooh. that's really below the gut.
It keep happening over and over again, and it's an ongoing fight. I always say those fights like that are eternal, and thank God we have some great people, great attorneys like Sister Smith and Attorney Ron Haley. You know, we have some people who want to fight the fight. You know.
Well, yes, and we are. It's an open line. We're allowing our callers only two calls per individual.
So, attorney, she's setting rules today. Wow, she got on her principal's hat today.
I'm not a part of that.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So tell us, before we get our other caller who want to chime in briefly, tell us about what you saw in the general election that might affect the laws that we're going to have to deal with on the nationwide level. You haven't seen anything that's overly, because we know the Senate going to maintain.
And that's what I was going to say, other than just trying to see who's going to have control.
Right.
That's the main thing that I saw. I mean, but just locally, we already talked about all of those amendments and our thoughts on y'all making sure that y'all go out and vote. We do have some runoff elections that are December the 10th. So y'all need to check those out and make sure that you're going out to vote December the 10th.
Yeah, because the main thing is control of the Senate, and that goes to what might affect us locally in the state of Louisiana with the issue of abortion. That's the reason I'm asking. And both of you sisters, it's one thing for a man to have concern, but the female concern, especially black females in the country, to tell somebody what to do with their body. So I don't know how you guys feel, whether or not it was a good thing or for the Senate to maintain control, because I think that's some of the legislation going to be targeted locally by states, but on a national level, I don't see anything changing because the Supreme Court got the ultimate say on the national level.
Correct. And I would definitely agree with that. And I mean, I definitely agree with the part about us as women being able to say what we do with our bodies is an issue if you're not able to carry the baby, but then you're having opinions and stuff about us carrying the baby and what we should do with our bodies when we have different things going on. You have some people that have medical conditions, so they might need an abortion for that. Rape, incest, things like that. So that's an issue for me.
Oh, and yeah, and that's an issue for me too. You have like either 98% of them that's making the laws, all white men, trying to tell us what we can and cannot do with our body. And at the same time, how did I get pregnant? I didn't just pick up and then get some sperm. Well, let's bring the man in here too. It's a two-way party here. It's a party. Well, it's a gathering. Yes, indeed.
She has some unique way of putting it. We got on the lines. I'm glad we segued back into the segment again, because she was really got me nervous. And it's cold in here, but I'm getting hot with this coat with the way she was wording things out here. Welcome, Miss Destiny Jones. She wants to definitely chime in on the issue with the rally and the march in Alexandria and something else she might want to add on. Good morning.
Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. I would like to send my deepest condolences to the Kidling and Van Buren family. As my family experienced the same thing dealing with the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Department 11 years ago. And we, the community, we are tired of these injustices happening. And it's time for all of us to stand together or we will fall for anything. So we need to come together and stand together so we can get these corrupt officers out of there. It's not just them with the killing. They are also, they're violating our civil rights. And it's been going on for far too long. So we're holding a march tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. We're going to start out at the steps of the Alexandria City Hall, and we're going to end at the steps of the Rapides Parish Courthouse. And the press conference is to follow with the two attorneys that are representing the family. And I would like for Alexandria community and surrounding communities to come out, because we have to stand together and fight these injustices.
Yes, ma'am. And Miss Destiny, the loss of your loved one happened 11 years ago, correct?
Yes, ma'am. 11 years ago in the same area. And so I can't only imagine, I can feel what this family, what this family is battling when you lose a loved one to law enforcement, the very exact ones that are supposed to protect and serve. So how can we, put our trust into these individuals when they are not protecting and serving us? And it's not just the Black lives, it's all races. We can't entrust them. You can't entrust the call on them in an emergency and such incident happened. For instance, with my brother, there was a medical call and he ended up losing his life at the hands of these same law enforcement officers. So, this is time for it to stop.
And let me ask you this. Have anything been done to those officers that killed your brother?
No, ma'am. The only thing I could tell you what was done, they moved them around. They got higher positions. They got promoted. That's the only thing. No one was reprimanded, demoted. No one was charged in the murder of my brother's death.
The lead investigating agency, I take it, was the Louisiana State Police, right?
Correct. Correct.
Well, as you and I discussed yesterday, sorry we didn't get you fair notice that we were down there last month with ACLU Louisiana Executive Director Alana Odoms and a number of others, and the United States Department of Justice. And one of the things hopefully they will be doing a town hall here in Lafayette. That's in the work. I think they'll be doing one in Baton Rouge and in Shreveport, Monroe area. So hopefully the one in Lafayette, I think that might happen sooner than later. You could come down and our thing is not necessarily worrying about what these people are going to do, because they're either going to do something about it or not. But the thing is to get the story out on the national level. To move our community to be in unity when it comes to these type of situations. So hopefully, when the Justice Department does it, the town hall meeting in Lafayette, you'll be there with us to give them your feedback on what's going on.
Yes, sir. Most definitely, I will be glad to join y'all when that is held.
And we always telling. We don't have a problem with telling what they have done. But it's like you report it to the agencies, and it's one of the main agencies, the one that's doing the corruption, and that's only what was recorded. Because if this was recorded, then they done it so many other times, and it was just swept under the table as usual. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. We've got to figure out something to address what's been going on dealing with these police officers that could go from one end to another end.
Well, I can tell you pretty much we have a lot of unanswered questions, and you contact and you get in touch with the proper authorities to try to get the investigations done. But I can tell you pretty much money is the root to all evil, and you have a lot of people that are being bought to keep their mouth shut, and they're afraid to speak out, and they're not gonna speak out because, hey, that's digging in their pockets. But it's time that we break the cycle of this and we get down to the bottom of who's connected to who, because you have a lot of people that have a lot of deep connections that keep things from getting out to proper authorities, and they just study covering and covering and covering stuff up. But so far now, their covers have fallen, and it's nothing they're going to be able to stop. In the name of Jesus, they're not going to be able to stop their covers from continuing to fall.
Oh, I really would hope that that Jesus would handle them like the way they allegedly handle him, for speaking the truth. And we're going to try to be there. I just again, you could still feel the pain in your voice from what happened to your brother 11 years ago. And did he leave children behind, my sister?
No, ma'am. He had no kids, just 4 siblings, mother and father.
Yes. Really heartbreaking. And so you're sending out a call asking people to come out.
Yes, ma'am. I ask that they come out and, show the family support so that, this can stop. It needs to stop. It's time for it to stop. And if you don't speak out, a closed mouth don't get fed. And if you don't speak out, then, you're voiceless if you don't speak out. So it's time to use your voice. They can use their voice and they can come out for, the nonsense. This is something that is very important because this is to protect our future, our kids' future, our grandkids, great-grandkids, the next generations to come.
Yes, and the sheriff that under the watch that this happened to, with your brother, did he get his promotion elsewhere?
No, well, he's a sheriff.
He was a deputy.
He went from jailer to sheriff.
Okay.
Yeah, he went from deputy to sheriff. He's the current sheriff. Yeah, the current sheriff is the man that's in the video that kicks my mentally ill brother in the head, and he died.
God.
Yes.
Again, we're trying to send out a call that people from our area, Louisiana or other states, if you're able to attend, it's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, where at, Destiny?
It's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. They're going to start at the Alexandria City Hall, and they're going to march down the street to the Rapides Parish Courthouse, and the press conference is to follow with Ben Crump and Ron Haley, and Reverend Randy Harris will do the closing prayer. He will make a statement and do a closing prayer.
Yes, ma'am. And anything else you want to say before you're off?
I would just like to say to the family to stand strong, don't stand down, don't let none of them intimidate you from fighting to get the justice for your loved one that they took away from you.
And Destiny, were y'all able to do like a silver suit because he died? He was murdered in their hands.
Well, we initially the lawsuit that was filed was against the city, the parish, the state, and Taser International. But by the time, by the end of the court case, it boiled down just to Taser International, and we didn't even have knowledge. Robert's father didn't have knowledge that Kara Paul Lexon let the city, the parish, and the state out of the lawsuit and just went after Taser International. And it's like trying to sue Smith & Wesson. You have to go after the person that administered the taser to Roberts. So that's what it boiled down to. But no criminal charges have been filed against none of the officers that were involved in Roberts' killing. So that's what we are pushing for, pushing towards that criminal charges be pressed against them, because in the state of Louisiana, there's no statute of limitation on murder.
Okay, what attorney you say that was? Let the attorney.
Kara Paul Lexon. She's from out of Monroe, Louisiana. She was the attorney on Robert case back in 2011.
That's the same one that was the attorney for Reverend Victor White.
She had the she had the Gina 6 case as well. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my land. Oh
Yeah.
my land.
Well, I can tell you now
I
with
could.
Robert Case, with this newly surfaced video that just came out in May that the family had never seen and no one had never seen. I've spoken with an expert that was on Robert Case. I actually have a new report from the expert, and it's very interesting with the facts that's inside this new report from this expert on Robert's case. So, Carol is not. We have a new attorney that's representing for Robert Case now, because Carol she wouldn't return phone calls or none of that. So I do believe she know it was some whistles being blown on her, because she would not return my phone calls.
Yes, indeed. And Reverend White, I could give you his number. He had the same encounter. Caller, we have a caller on, Destiny. Caller, you have a question or a comment for Miss Destiny?
Yeah, just a quick comment for her. Yeah, God bless you. I'm so sorry what happened. But you know, everything you're saying is right. We have to start speaking up. And you know, I say this all the time. We have to go to these meetings, understand, en masse, and let these people know that we're not going to stand for it. It's bad. I wish they had a bus going out there. If we can co-opt all the parishes, understand, when it's concerning black people, and we can build a co-op where we can voice our opinion. We have the finance to fight these people, you know, because that's going to be a constant thing. And, you know, like I said, I'm on my way out, but I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, especially young black boys. And it's so important that we stick together and put the right people in office, please. Because they're black doesn't mean they're right. Let's put the right black people in office and get rid of those that just don't stand up for it, baby, please. God bless you. I'm so sorry.
Yes, thank you so much, caller. Yes, Destiny.
Yes, ma'am. Well, like I say, Carol, she was a very good representative for the case. And once again, it goes back to, you have people that can be bought, and she was one of the ones that, she had to be bought by, the Rapides Parish Sheriff Department, state police, however they decided upon to pay her to just, go after Taser International, and they knew that wasn't going to fly, because you have to go after the person that administered the taser. You have an officer that wasn't even certified to even administer the taser on Robert. So they it's a lot of illegal things and protocols they didn't follow. And I mean, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight to the end till we get justice.
Yes, ma'am.
Because not only one life was taken that night, it was two lives. My grandmother, my 87-year-old grandmother, grieved herself to death, all because she tried to get her grandson medical attention, not knowing that was going to be the end of his life.
Destiny, we have a caller on. Caller, you're on.
Yes, Miss Destiny, I want to give you your condolences and your credit, because these people made you a real activist, because they woke you up when a lot of us are still sleeping, not realizing that we can't keep letting people who obstruct justice bring justice. And to all the people who are saying about this democratic vote, where are the Democrats when the black people are getting murdered and killed by a system that's supposed to be protected and serving? This is why I say we must form our own. We always say, let's keep believing in these people. Well, we're going to be getting knocked off a cliff. And they're not going to push it. We're going to walk off it by following these people. We have the ability to lead ourselves out of other people's ignorance. And to all those tokens out there who always say we got to go to meetings and all this is not about a meeting. This is about people's lives. And look, you can't blame white folk, because they're not the one that's being killed. And we got to stop praising these people who don't praise us. So keep doing what you're doing, man, because listen to me, you're waking up a lot of people. Do not stop saying what you're saying to appease nobody. And that means the black politicians, you need to get on them too, because they say our vote counts. Let's see if our votes count when we start bringing these matters to this so-called democracy. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Destiny. In closing, you want to remind everybody tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Tomorrow, Thursday, November 17th, we're holding a peaceful march for justice in demand of the release of the officer's body cam and dash footage to be released to the public. We're going to begin to march at the Alexandria City Hall, 3 p.m., and we're going to march down to the Rapides Parish Courthouse steps, and the Prince Conference is to follow with Ben Crump and Ron Haley. And Reverend Harris will make a statement, and he will do a closing prayer. We asking our communities, surrounding communities, to come out and please join us as we stand together to try to fight for justice against these injustices.
Well, Sister Destiny, I want to thank you so much for chiming in. We appreciate your fight. Anytime you want to come on, and hopefully we might see you out there tomorrow in Alexandria.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank y'all for having me on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it was the call. Thank you so much,
Sister Khadijah. Let me give this up. I'm getting an email. Thank brother. I want to thank Brother John Francois. He just notified me, say he's trying to listen to the show, but the link wasn't up. So go to the Open Line Radio Show on Facebook, and the Open Line Radio Show on Facebook. Just do a search, it'll pop up. Then you could get the link to listen directly to KIEE 88.3 FM stream. Click on the stream link. Also, you can look and listen on Facebook under my profile, or you could go to AOC Community Media, that's Cox 15 or LUS 3, and you can watch and listen to the show after Sister Khadijah told me, get that camera out my face, man. So you could go check it out if you want. So definitely we have other ways of getting the stream out. Please take advantage of it.
Yes, and our last caller, she wanted me to ask the question, but I didn't quite get all of it and everything, and it was dealing with the accident. That's why I wanted to
call back if you listen.
Well, yes, let me know again what was the question that she had asked, because I was trying to do a few other things.
Does it feel like Alaska in here a little bit?
It feels like.
Where's the building supervisor? I need to talk to him. I need to talk to the building supervisor.
South Dakota, that's for sure.
We have another call?
Yes. You have. Yeah, that's a long question. You say it.
Oh, excuse me. Let me take you over air, because you're on. You might be giving a long
yes,
application.
Good morning to all. My question is, I heard y'all talk a little earlier about the state troopers. A person was involved in a very bad accident, life-threatening accident. And when they went to the state trooper's office to get the records of the accident, they claimed that there's no record. So is there anything that a person could do to hold them accountable? Because somebody at the state trooper's office should know the one that went out, the officer that went out, and now they're saying it's no record. So that person has no evidence to even show that they was involved in the accident.
Oh, and the state trooper was the leading investigators?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, there's a record, because if it happened at 12:01 Monday, then whoever was on duty in that particular facility, then they either made a report or what would they do with it? I mean,
they have dispatch records.
Right, they got dispatch
them
records.
going out, and then there should be an accident report.
That is my theory. Oh. If you have an officer, you should know who was at that particular time of the accident, who was on duty. But they're still claiming they have no record. I mean, none.
I mean, if this is a lawsuit or something, you can just subpoena those records, because that doesn't make any sense, because they know where their officers are, or they should know at all times. So, again, there's a dispatch record that shows where they're being dispatched to. And if there's an actual accident, then there's an accident report.
Right. And then you had to give your license for them to get the information down. And he don't know, he could describe the state trooper or anything?
I'll say this. When you're involved in an accident, the main concern was the injury of the people involved in the accident. Okay. So when the state trooper or the police come out, you have confidence in them to think that, okay, they're going to make the report, and then after, we get taken care of to the hospital or whatever, we could go back and get a record of it. And that's the situation. They have no record of the accident.
And they're actually supposed to give you a card.
Record. Now, like she said, we could go maybe and see if that person could go to a dispatcher at the date of the accident and see if they have anything. And then, go to whoever's the head at the state trooper.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah. But those are steps seems like you're going to have to take. And then you said it was almost it was a serious accident. So the ambulance driver, which ambulance driver came out and which hospital did they bring him to?
They have records of all of that. But they don't have a record of the state trooper making a report on the accident. The car flipped, so it was a very serious accident.
Oh, my land. Oh, well, yeah. Well, then you definitely going to uncover some serious things from that because they're not going to go to the hospital or the ambulance going to bring them to the hospital if they hadn't gotten a call from the police saying, look, I need you to dispatch at 2204, so you're probably gonna have to work backwards. But there's it seems like to me this is gonna be really.
If it's just some concern, I would take this to the U.S. Attorney's Office in either Lafayette, because the Western District, if it happened in the Western District jurisdiction from Shreveport to Lafayette. Lake Charles, that's the Western District. This is our area, Iberia Parish also. So, I mean, if you had some concern about them not doing the follow-up or getting some timely information based on the fact that they're now doing investigation about the Louisiana State Police, the way they investigate. So I would take that to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Oh, but that's troubling.
Because this happened right here on 90.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's troubling. That's right. I mean, and she could bring the information. Yeah. Did y'all file a complaint? Y'all in the process of filing a complaint?
Well, you see, after the person went to try to get the accident report or something, it's like she came to end of the road because she had no information from the state troopers about the accident. So I'll do and pass it on to her.
Did they refuse to give her information?
And see the dispatcher, the ambulance, and the hospital, and make them accountable. That's what I'm trying to do because it's very sad. You can get involved in an accident, and the state trooper could simply lose your accident report.
Oh, did they refuse, or they told? Oh yeah, they told her they lost it, or they told.
It's like it didn't even exist.
Tell them put something in the statement that they don't on writing that they don't have any information on that. Ask them to put something in writing.
And then they could go to some of the local media. They might want to go ahead and do an investigation in that because, like, you went to C, nice to get to B. C, you went to the hospital and everything like that. The ambulance couldn't come without you saying bad accident, come on in. Oh, yeah.
Well, follow up with those agencies. That's all you could do.
And then I'll get back to you all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Yes,
there's a troubling video that was posted on social media, and I took it on myself to repost it. As a matter of fact, the ACLU of Louisiana had gotten, I think it's an older video of a Lafayette City Police officer beating a suspect that were handcuffed to the wall. I don't know if you saw that video, Sister Khadijah. It might be an old video, but it was posted about one of these officers go up. I think they go up for getting their job back. They go up to review. So when you have those type of videos, that's very troubling. Whether the suspect is white or black, when an officer go use force on you being a handcuffed suspect, So I hope to share that video with you. I don't know where the video come from or what's the time frame, but I know the ACLU is investigating it right now. So.
Yes, and I don't know. Everything has just kind of been troubling, but also on a federal level. Well, in Washington D.C., the student loan borrowers are now waiting indefinitely
it got blocked again
to see if they received debt relief under President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program.
A Texas judge blocked it.
A Texas judge blocked it.
On a federal judge. They have jurisdiction on certain, judges could block something if they're in Timbuktu. I mean, you saw what happened with some of the people were petitioning for what they were petitioning for, and they blocked it. A federal judge concerning the investigation of Trump records, in Florida, So I don't know how that works. One day, Sister Dwyer gonna have to come and give us a classroom on the way federal judges can make decisions,
on the federal,
even if it's somewhere in another jurisdiction, So that's a thing. But the student loan thing, everybody was concerned about. Wow, we gonna get some relief for the holidays.
Yes.
Well, some more bad news is blocked again. So it's a temporary block. So until they litigate further.
And when you look at the SNL scandal, the SNL
that was so
scandal,
long, my sister.
Over 20 years ago, hey, they forgave. They did a forgiveness of loan for hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's true.
Right there, the SNL scandal. Call it. You have a question or a comment? You're on.
Yes, I have a question for the attorney.
Yes, you're on.
Yes, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I have a question for the attorney. And then I want to make a statement before about what y'all were just talking about.
You're going to have 3 minutes.
If y'all recall when the banks were bailed out, that was what, 98? Somewhere in there? I think it was 1998.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I think y'all recall when the banks had to be bailed out because they were in a situation in a country, and banks were bailed out. And now y'all are bringing up the information, that stuff about the student loan.
The student loan.
And the judge blockage. So here's my question. Okay, Attorney Duan, when judges were being put in place by our former president, a lot of people had begun a conversation about the fact that they felt as though those judges were being placed in these positions so that when needed, they would come to do the work that they were hired to do. So, go over this again. Some people believe they were put there by the former president on standby waiting until it's time for them to do the work that needs to be done, such as what y'all are talking about, student loan, and other things that whenever they're needed, they just throw a wrench in it, and they just shut it down, block it, and they stall it, and then time passes, etc. Talk about how these judges, if you could, talk about how, like the way the president puts them in, and then they do the work that they do. Aren't they held accountable by the same law that we are all held accountable for, even though they're judges?
Yeah.
I'll listen. Thank you.
I'm not really quite sure I understand the question, but I will say that judges have a judicial code of conduct that they have to follow, and that's both state and federal. So whatever it is for federal, that is what they would have to follow. Hope that answers your question.
I know at one time in maybe some, I'm not exactly sure, maybe some 20 or 25 years ago, the attorneys from the state of Louisiana took Louisiana to court because the black attorneys were not even given the opportunity to become judges. So they had to take the state of Louisiana to court to show the complete racial discrepancies that exist here and everything. I know Akila Mawusi Ali, she was one of the attorneys. There was another, there was Sylvia Cook. She was one of the lead attorneys. And several, Bernadette Stevens, Bernadette somebody out of Frank, out of Breaux Bridge. Several of the attorneys came together, and they fought to be able to have the opportunity to be judges. You know, it had to start from somewhere. So yes, Louisiana, we do wind up having to fight all the time, but at the same time, you're doing with what you're given. You're only given so much. So I think we need to do a segment on those attorneys that took Louisiana to state, have that completely.
And they can talk specifically about that. But that's some of the history of those C's Division B and D, which mirror each other. So that's exactly what you're speaking of.
Mm-hmm. And also, November the 17th, which is tomorrow, you have the Senior Citizen Thank You Day, Thursday, November the 17th from 8 to 4 p.m. And that's going to be at the Martin Luther King Center, 309 Chorus Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. And you must also be, is it over 62? I know you got to also be over 62, I believe.
62 or older. IDs required.
And IDs required.
Wow.
Okay, and what's the next one?
The next one is calling all seniors age 60 and over. Join us for the Opelousas Elderly Awareness Harvest Fest Seminar. And that actually is today. It's going on now.
Yeah.
November 16, Evangeline Downs Casino Event Center, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Can't make all of them, Sister Khadijah. He can't make all of them.
Right.
You could watch my old footage. I used to go and cover that with Miss Janelle Shag while I was alive. I used to cover those things every year. You could watch my old footage and look at the food that was being served.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that'd be even better, so you don't have to get out in that cold.
Oh, yes. Janelle Shag was a leading pioneer also.
And I think at 10:30, if we have time, Attorney Ron Haley will be chiming in. So, Sister, going back to Ask a Lawyer segment, what is it that, and going back to what we discussed, the topic was police issues, and reiterate that traffic stops are occurring on a daily basis. What should one do if pulled over by law enforcement? Should have your registration, insurance, and ID ready, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And of course, if you need to reach somewhere, I mean, of course, let them know what you're doing so we won't have any of the incidents that we've been having on the side of the road.
Hands on the steering wheel?
Correct. I'm reaching for, you know, all of that, because at the end of the day, you want to make it out of that so that you can live to fight another day. So depending on whether or not you got a ticket that you think you shouldn't have gotten, you need to get out of the situation, though.
One thing I noticed, Sister Khadijah, you know, there's a lot of traffic construction. We know they turned over dirt the other day for some work on the interstate on Highway 90, and using cell phones is the same as using cell phones doing school zones, using cell phones in traffic zones. Because a lot of people I saw, basically, I could see them next to me were on the phone passing through a construction zone, because, you know, you got different controls in the construction zone. You got slower speed limits. Right. Are there any different rules that apply that you heard of?
Not that I know of. Okay. I mean, of course, we know it's illegal to be on your phone and to be texting and all of that stuff, because there used to be a secondary offense that's now a primary offense, and, you know, extra in a school zone. We have a caller?
Yes, we have a caller. Caller, you have a question or comment for Attorney Duval?
Yes, good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Brother Wallace.
I'm calling to find out, have y'all reached out to former Colonel Kerry Landry to speak out on some of the issues that's happening within the state policemen? Because I know that when he was the colonel in the state police office, he made a lot of the officers watch a film, you know, on
sensitivity,
different things that was happening within the state trooper office, you know. And I'm not saying that he's going to give y'all all the right answers, but I think he's very qualified to bring some of the issues and the ills that is happening in the state of Louisiana towards the people of color, you know. So
is where I'm at, you know. And again, that's one of my concerns, you know, to reach out to him to see where his issue is on all the ills that's going on within the Louisiana State Police Department, you know. So, again, you guys are having a wonderful show, a very informative show, and I thank Attorney Dwyer for bringing all the legal issue that is going on in the city, the parish of Lafayette and surrounding. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Yes, certainly there's a lot going on. Also, Miss Green, the mother of Ronald Green, was speaking before the panel in Baton Rouge. Couple that she had to go back to the trial started in North Louisiana concerning the investigation with the Louisiana State Police. So we want to give our deepest support to Miss Green, who you and I met, sweet person.
Yeah, the whole family.
The whole family. And, you know, to see the sadness in the family concerning her son, you know. So it's so much going on with the state police. And I think it warrants, if you have that much going on, it warrants some type of national involvement to look at and to make public, to better guide the people how to deal with what's going on in the state of Louisiana as it relates to the Louisiana State Police. So it's ongoing. It's an eternal fight. It's a fight probably never going to be over with or never. But here's the good news, Sister Khadijah. Your president is running again. I mean, your former president. I'm sorry, I worded it wrong. Your former president. He was everybody's former president. Boy, you can see the look on you. Well, yeah, I can see it on television. But certainly we're going to have some, maybe another 4 years of chaos going on, back and forth going on, some good entertainment going on, all kind of stuff could be going on in politics. So I don't know how that go. What the community has to say about it, you know.
All right, so that's an open call to the community.
No.
What y'all have to say?
Boy, she's good today. She don't want to touch that one. I love it when she's good. So, Attorney Smith, going back to child support.
I think she was done with her child support questions for the day.
Yeah. One of the things, the seniors, with all the events happening, there are several groups and organizations are raising money and padding up the food banks and so forth. So please support those food banks, because you know right now I do think we have an explosion in homeless people. I'm seeing in the overflow of the stuff that's going on in Lafayette. I'm seeing the overflow in New Iberia, you know, at different intersections. So we certainly the economy is supposedly picking up a little bit. So hopefully we have some relief starting in 2023.
And that's what perplexes me about government, big government. You know, they could spend almost $1 billion to go to the moon.
You saw the rocket take off last night. They were going. They actually the test rocket is going to the moon. You're right.
They could spend almost $1 billion to go to the moon to see if they got some rocks and some water to get out there, check the air and everything, and they don't want to spend money on the homeless people.
But here's what you get out of that wonderful experiment called space exploration. You get all type of byproducts. You get computer chips. You get knowledge of medical science. You get everything out of it.
Going to the moon?
And you
don't get that from no moon.
You get instant coffee. You got instant coffee because it started way back in the, you know. So
it's taxpaying money that's just completely being going to waste. You name it.
So you don't believe in science?
I didn't say I didn't believe in
science.
Well,
that's part of the scientific.
You're not gonna find nothing on the moon except rocks and a little dab of water. So and who have the money to try to ride up to the moon.
It gives you better riding cars, self-controlled cars, where you don't have to drive through speed zones
Caller,
on your cell phone.
Caller, you have a comment or question for Brother J, because he's the only one in here right now.
Comment for Brother J. Brother J, I heard you just a few seconds ago, well, now it's about a minute ago.
Yes, sir.
And you brought up about somebody making an announcement to run for the White House.
I was trying not to go there, but we had to fill in dead air.
And I'll just say a statement of that song by Frankie Beverly and Mays. Those silly games that people play. Mm-hmm. You can connect that song to what that was all about, in my opinion. Because the bottom line is, I truly believe that the American people, the majority of us, have had enough of those silly games, and they all understand now that we have to focus on taking care of business in this country, and we ain't got time for the nonsense and the jokes and all the foolishness.
Okay.
We got, like y'all were talking about, food for pantry and things of those natures. Mm-hmm. Those are things that in our country we got to focus on, and a lot of other things about bettering the situation for Americans as citizens in our country, and everything that's positive about moving the country's people forward. Because look at the dynamic. We have storms that are destroying the fabric of everything people have built, and things are falling apart all around us. And there's no time for, I would say, nonsense politicians or politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to take care of the American people's business, and the American people, it's time for the American people to hold those we send in office, put in office, to hold them to accountability. Because bottom line is, we have a lot of things that are not, I would say, functioning correctly in our country.
Okay.
Let alone in each state, let alone in each town, municipality, or each village. And it's up to the people. If you think about it in some way, shape,
you have 1 minute and counting.
Sometimes don't you wonder, do presidents really run the United States when they're in office?
Not at all.
Or do 100 representatives that we send to Congress, do they run it? Or do the lower people in each state run their own states, and do they run it? Or do the local ones in the local municipalities, do they run?
Might be a corporation.
Runs the United States of America. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
98% white males, elderly white males, run the state. Runs the different states. You have like Kennedy. He went in with a landscape and
landslide.
Right, a real landslide. All right, so he went in with a landslide, but then still, a lot of Louisianians.
He's talking about running for governor.
Don't even care about Kennedy, but those Louisianians evidently is not voting. Carl, you have a question or a comment?
Yes. Once again, y'all have proven again that democracy is a hypocrisy because Trump insurrected, and now he gets to run again. This goes to show you that the rich is all what democracy is about, to keep the rich wealthy off the poor, and it's black, white, and brown. So all the things that Trump done and did, and they still allowing him to run, they need him to distract us. For them to do what they have to be doing to us now is raping the country, black, whites, and everybody who has a job. Because number one, Trump did not hurt black people. He's hurting more white people than anything. And we got to understand our fight is not with these people. We have to build our own platform. Until we realize that, the cops, the justice system, and all the rest of the system that white man created is against the black people not to prosper. As long as we stay under them, they will always keep us oppressed because we are too smart to be under dummies. Thank y'all. That's my last call, Sister Khadijah.
Oh, thank Thank you so much, Mr. Kevin. Thank you so much. Well, I know at 10:30.
Yeah, we're expecting the call from Mr. Haley.
All right.
So tentatively, I know he's busy. All these things are fluid on the Open
Right.
Line show. We run a fluid show.
We do.
But it seems to me that Khadija, why you turn up the air conditioner, man? It's cold.
No.
Yeah.
On that note, I had to
She
get up out of
freezing
here.
everybody out. She's trying to make us leave early, I think.
I think that's what it is. But I have to leave anyway to go
Yeah,
to court.
yeah.
So if y'all need to get in contact with me, as usual, y'all can contact me at 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020. Next week, I will be on the phone if Brother Jay calls me.
Yes, I will call you. I apologize. And thank you so much, Attorney DeWitt Smith. We definitely appreciate all the wonderful work and, just coming in and bringing some balance to this show because, my co-host right there, she can get a little bit rebellious,
Well,
the boss co-host.
but no matter.
I'm just an intern.
No matter how you look at it, it's enough going on in this world. Well, just waking up and making sure that everything is moving right, and just praying for those that can't do the best that they possibly can.
She's talking about a co-host, I guess.
That's a lot. Caller, you have a question or a comment?
Comment.
You're on.
This is Eleanor in St. Martinville, Louisiana.
Yes, with the
and we're
desegregation.
still dealing with a DSEG case. And I was just calling in reference to that because we're in 2022 and we're still dealing with a DSEG case. I need black parents to stand up more. We do have parents that are standing with us. Our kids had been going to Catahoula prior to the school closing in Catahoula. And now the school's closed, and we're trying to balance numbers here in St. Martinville. So we're needing input from the community because the school board wants to know how to put a proposal together in getting a magnet school here in town and trying to balance our numbers because some of the schools here are majority black, and we're needing to get some white students to get into the schools here in town. But part of that problem is in our area, we have 3 feeder schools in the elementary level. So with that being said, it makes it hard for your numbers to be right when in high school and junior high they'll balance. But if they're all split up in elementary level, you never get the numbers right.
Sister Eleanor, help me out here. There was a judge. You can name the judge. That's perfectly fine. It's on record. That decided to have St. Martinville in a desegregation order. That signed signed the order. Can you elaborate on that? Because it was a judge that signed to close down the Catahoula school.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why?
Basically, the school was closed because the numbers were not there.
What?
And the school prior to 2016 was basically majority white. There weren't enough black students basically in that area. It was an all-white school for quite some time.
Okay.
And basically when they integrated, when they went and rezoned and put children from St. Martinville going there, it still wasn't enough numbers because they didn't have those numbers.
Okay. They didn't have those numbers. And
no, ma'am. They didn't have enough black kids in that area. At the time of close, they had somewhere around 120-something, 130 children at the school. So this meant like some classrooms actually had maybe 12 children in a class.
And help me out too. You also had kids that wore a mix that they wind up labeling as white.
Yes, ma'am.
And
yes, ma'am.
And that wind up slapping them in their face.
Right, because
one drop
if
of
they
black
would have
blood,
put
you black.
those children as other or black, then they wouldn't have that much of a difference in those numbers.
Okay, so you want St. Martinville and surrounding areas to know that what on this particular day at this time. What are you requesting?
Board is supposed to come up with a plan by December 9th on whether or not to reopen Catahoula, because that has the judge that ordered that the school be reopened. It has to meet certain criteria, and the school board, has not voted yet on whether or not to open the school. So I need to hear from parents in St. Martinville whether or not they feel the school should be open, and if it should be open, how do they open it? Because they need feedback on how that school is to be reopened. What's it supposed to look like?
Yes, it's so
reopened.
It's so elementary. You want to take my child who's catching the bus right here, not too far from the house, and bus my child to go to Catahoula so your numbers could come out and the federal dollars could come in. Yeah. I'm just lost.
Some reverse busing.
Well, I'm lost because the black kids of St. Martinville that were rezoned were bused for 4 years. And no one saw that it was dangerous, that they were getting up early, that they were having to travel this distance to Catahoula during cane season. Now that the shoe is on the other foot, it's so detrimental. It's so early up in the morning, and they got to be getting on the bus between 6 and 6:15. Our kids done that too. It's too far to travel.
Yeah.
It takes so long. Our kids travel the same distance. It's so long before emergency response can be brought over there. Our kids were put in that situation as well.
Sister Eleanor,
what I'm not understanding is
we'd like to invite her.
I want to do it to come to St. Martinville, but our kids had to do it to go to Catahoula.
I understand.
So what's the difference?
Sister Eleanor, can you?
Because our kids are black.
That's a good statement. Look, we're gonna have to close on that, Sister Eleanor. And can you come in next week on the open line?
We'd like to have you next week. We have another call on the line.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, I sure will.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
That's Sister Eleanor with the DSAG case in St. Martinville and Catahoula, the controversy. So right now on the line, we're going to go straight into the line. We got dynamic young brother, Attorney Ron Haley, to give us an update on the march and justice for Mr. Kittling out there in Alexandria. Welcome, Attorney Haley.
Hey, good morning, brother. How you doing today?
Great, my brother. Great. Tell us what's going on, man.
So tomorrow we're having a march. Myself, Attorney Ben Crump, activists in the Rapides Parish area. We're going to march from City Hall to the parish courthouse in unison, asking for a very specific message. We need transparency and accountability for what happened with Brother Kittling. Once we get to the parish courthouse, we're going to have a press conference. Myself, Mr. Crump, the family, and other activists in the area.
Isn't it strange that the Rapides Parish Sheriff Department will say stop on a traffic stop? The brother of the head of the Louisiana State Police Investigative Unit, I think that's his title, concerning the Ronald Green case and other situation, and nobody not know that's his brother, or not know of him being in that area. That's kind of like strange, and that caught the attention nationwide from the stories I'm hearing and seeing being printed. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think this is this case has a lot of questions that need to be answered. I just don't understand how what should be a routine traffic stop ends with Mr. Kittling losing his life. You know, typically speaking, when you have a physical encounter at a traffic stop between a citizen and law enforcement, there's some sort of a chase, some sort of flight, right? That heightens the situation, or that person may have some type of contraband. Mr. Kittling, as far as we know, had no contraband, no firearms, no drugs in the vehicle. He pulled over. It was inside the residential neighborhood, according to a witness that I spoke with immediately after the officer flashed his lights. And he simply asked, "Why did you pull me over?" And everything went bad from there.
Did they, the Rapides Parish Sheriff Department, call in the outside investigating agency and also notified the family, or like in some other cases where they held on for a couple of hours before they let everybody know what's going on?
I think state police was called pretty fast on this. I'm not sure exactly if they get it, but I know the same day of Mr. Kittling's death, state police on the scene.
And do you trust the integrity of the investigating arm, of whether or not it's not Lieutenant Van Buren issue? Because I think he probably have to divorce himself from that situation. But do you trust any of the integrity of any type of investigation that could be put forward by the Louisiana State Police? Because, you know, I was down there in New Orleans with the Justice Department, DOG, and Alana Odoms, and they were discussing all the things, the situation with the Louisiana State Police technique. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know if you could comment on that.
Oh, no, certainly. I will say this. This is their chance, right? Colonel Davis said that things were changing. Colonel Davis has said that change was coming, and change had been made within the state police in the wake of the Green case. This is the first high-profile police shooting death that the Louisiana State Police has had to investigate since the Green case. This is the new leadership. So I'm optimistic that Colonel Davis is a man of his words, and this is not going to be business as usual anymore. But certainly we have our skepticism based on what we see. But Colonel Davis has asked for patience. I would say to the state police right now, this is your chance to do the right thing, to be transparent about this investigation. Though that this has almost been 2 weeks, they are about to bury Mr. Kittling this Saturday, and yet the only information the family has had has been from witnesses that have come forward, Samaritans that have taken and shared their accounts via their cell phones. But the footage from Rapides Parish Sheriff deputy that did this has not been released. Certainly, we need to find out how did a routine traffic stop turn to a physical altercation and led to the death of Mr. Kittling, who was unarmed.
And there is cell phone video from the bystanders, right? From according to what the articles, right?
Yeah.
And have you had a chance to review any?
I have. I think 3 or 4 different videos.
Yeah. So I mean, the preliminary word out there on the street is it contradicts some of the statements of these officers from the Rapides Parish Sheriff Department.
No, it does, and we can jump into that, brother. One of the things that was striking to me is that the justification for the officer shooting Mr. Kittling was the fact that Mr. Kittling went for his taser. And certainly in a situation like that, if a citizen were to disarm an officer of the taser and then attempt to tase the officer, that may be grounds to use deadly force because of the danger that puts the officer in. However, the problem with that train of thought is that Mr. Kittling never got the taser. What's the problem with that thought is Kittling himself actually And that's an important distinction, okay? Because once the taser is deployed, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes to wind that taser. So essentially, once the taser is deployed, it is essentially a useless piece of equipment until it's wound back up. And if Mr. Kittling is charged, if in fact he reached the taser,
Attorney Haley, you're breaking a little bit. Maybe you might want to be able to, if you can move. We want to keep you on the line. You're breaking a little bit. Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And so it's an important distinction, because if Mr. Kittling reached for the taser, and that's the reason why the officer felt he needs to use deadly force, if the taser had already been deployed, it hit Mr. Kittling, that taser itself is rendered essentially useless until it's wound back up and charged.
Right.
Thus, him reaching for it is like him reaching for a water gun.
Right.
There's no reason for him to have been shot for reaching for a taser that cannot be used, if in fact that's what happened.
If in fact that's what happened. Now, he was also shot in the throat, right?
Yes.
Oh.
And to let's say to the issue of the press conference tomorrow, will it reveal? I know I'm asking too much, but that's the nature of these talk shows. Will probably reveal much more information to the general public other than what the local media has.
Yes, I mean, we plan on going in detail with the videos, what we have seen, explain them in depth as to how and why that the story that has been put out there to the public from the sheriff's department just doesn't make sense. And we're going to demand for transparency. We're going to demand for the release of that body cam footage and the dash cam footage.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Attorney Haley, would you mind taking one call? We got a caller.
Go ahead.
No, absolutely.
Yes, I would like to know if there was a body camera news during this incident. Was there a body camera news?
The sheriff's department does have body cams. I'm not sure if this officer was functioning, but they do have body cams there at Peace Parish.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and it's the issue is again to get out there and garner support for the family. And do you see this as an important case? Again, I know you talked about whether or not the Louisiana State Police investigative issues will somewhat change what the colonel said and others say. But do you see it as a case that's very important now? The fact that the Justice Department will be down in the state of Louisiana for 18 months looking at feedback from the public on the Louisiana State Police. What you see?
I mean, I think this is a very important case. This is a case as it pertains to the state police in order to garner public support, again, to rebuild their reputation. Again, this is an opportunity for them that you said, give us a chance to fix our problems, to show that they are in the process of doing that. But I will say this, the longer that this goes on without any transparency, it looks like it could be business as usual.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's
well,
that's
that goes
exactly.
And that goes to the individual sheriff having that much power, because they could cooperate with the Louisiana State Police or the Louisiana. I don't know if the Louisiana State Police has any power to demand them give all the information.
And one caller called in mentioning that there was a horrible accident, and the state police came out there. They wrote up the incident, and then afterwards, like they tried to go and get a copy of the accident report, and they're saying that there's no record. The state police is saying there's no record, and yet the person went to the hospital, had injuries. The car had flipped over. So it seems like to me the state police is still doing business as usual.
And listen, this is an opportunity for them, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. But this is an opportunity for them to, in a very public way,
come clean.
You took the words out of my mouth. To come clean with transparency. And remember, the big part of our issues with state police, it's not the just the actions that took place. It is what has happened with these investigations afterwards, that they have been very untransparent. And we know the flow of information on the cases that I'm involved in with the state police was coming at a snail's pace. If it wasn't for folks whistleblowing and providing leaks and information, we're still behind the 8 ball.
Yes, yes. So again, give us a little bit more about the rally and press conference tomorrow.
So tomorrow from 3 to 5, folks there, please come out and support this family and our mission to get justice for Brother Kittling and to demand transparency and accountability. It is at 3 p.m. starting at City Hall in Alexandria, and it's about a quarter of a mile walk to the parish courthouse, where myself, Ben Crump, and activists from the area will have a press conference and a rally at the courthouse.
Okay. Sister Khadijah, you have any more?
Well, I want to continuously to thank you, sir, on the work that you've always done. And even though periodically they may try to spank you or they try to do different things.
She add that in, right?
We want to thank you for your due diligence.
Yeah, brother. We support you and keep strong no matter what. Keep strong, because we know the system sometimes is the way you navigate it. And we appreciate the work you're doing, because some others won't take cases like that or help look into cases like that. And we always appreciate an attorney or somebody who represents the legal community who's trying to bring justice to everyone.
And a lot of times you got to be in it to work within it.
Yes.
You know, got to have good people that can't be bought. That's the truth.
Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go. You heard Attorney Ron Haley, a dynamic young brother who's been at the forefront of a lot of prominent civil rights cases that I've noticed, Sister Khadijah, that when others did not get involved in those cases. So hopefully he could bring about a semblance of justice for the family. So it's always an eternal fight. There's always these things going on.
Yes, indeed. And another thing, that the holidays are here. I know people are preparing for Thanksgiving. Some people calls it misgiving, or that that you should never celebrate the demise of a whole culture. Just about when it came down to the Christopher Columbus.
You talking about eating a turkey? I thought you was, because they got animal rights
who did not discover America. The indigenous Americans, they were here beforehand. So look at Thanksgiving, aka like Brother Takuna would say, misgivings, as an opportunity for family to kind of like be together and appreciate each other in all type of avenue. Be mindful that in some families we have those that are, how would I call them? The Grinch or whatever and stuff. Show love and compassion.
The Grinch stole Christmas?
Show love and compassion to each other. And remember, crime usually happens more around these holidays. You don't need to try to go and rob nobody to get some diamonds or anything like that. Let's just learn how to just love and respect each other and stop all the senseless every other day brutal murders.
And on a serious note, put the guns down. Put the guns down, please. Everybody's suffering.
Yes, indeed.
Sister?
Yeah, and when you showed that cemetery, they're going to be having a cleanup this Saturday at the cemetery.
Yeah, November 19th, St. Matthew Cemetery.
I remember that cemetery. You remember Judy Bird? Judy Bird used to do a lot of like TV things. Yes, from New Iberia. Yeah. And also, and she was a good fighter, and also another good fighter from Iberia, New Iberia, or the world, was Jacqueline.
Shout out to
Jacqueline Jarrag Dudley.
Shout out to Pastor Albert Hill for all the work he's doing. I've been talking to the brother. He got a lot of programs he want to bring forward in New Iberia with the youth. We got to have more people involving with the youth when it comes to organized sports and stuff. So, Sister Khadijah,
yes,
I'm going to see you probably next week.
Yes, okay, we are out of here. We want to thank everybody that participated and those that were able to call in and not call some 5 and 10 times. We really appreciate that. Have a blessed day.